So if you've been around Osu long enough, chances are you've probably heard of the name Jakads. Whether you know him as the #1 Mania player or just a rhythm game enthusiast, he is definitely a staple character within the Osu community. But up until now, Jakads has held the rank 1 spot for 5 years, and just about 2 weeks ago, Osumania history has just been made. And on the 17th of August 2022, it was done by this guy. But before we get into what happened on the 17th, let's take a trip down memory lane, specifically all the way back to March of 2015. Now some of these names on the ladder may stand out to some of you, but the main focus is that Osumania's game mode's top 10 leaderboard were completely dominated by the South Koreans. Just imagine that, being top 10 in the world, but only being top 10 in your country. That was how insane it was back then, and to this day, not much has actually changed. There would come a time when JH Lee 0133 was at the top and no one would come close to him. Half a year later, JH Lee became inactive from the game, and it was around the early days of 2016 when a new face entered the top 10. This guy.
My also crashed? Oh, okay.
Jakads' improvement over the next few months skyrocketed as he achieved numerous #1s and top PP plays with his combination of both 4-key and 7-key skills. Later that year, Jakads earned himself the #1 spot on the Osumania leaderboard, and it's pretty hard not to see how he earned it. Later came 2017, and JH Lee returned and nabbed himself the #1 spot once again.
Rank 2? What? Judy, you fuck! Judy. Judy! Fuck!
This didn't hinder Jakads, but only motivated him to reclaim his #1, which he did in just 2 months. We have now entered the Jakads era, with his next best competition being Windy S, but even so, Jakads had a solid 2000 PP lead in front of the 2nd place. It wasn't even close. Other up-and-coming players such as Jip, Chiwi, and Wonder, they showed little potential, but nothing compared to the #1 at the time. It was later in November 2017 where Dressurf would make his first appearance in the top 10. Dressurf was often overlooked, as he was outshined most of the time by his other peers like JH Lee, Windy S, and others. He started streaming as of late 2018, and he gained more recognition. He was an amazing player, that's for sure, but definitely not a #1 contender at the time. Now, let's fast forward to the 6th of February 2021. This day marked one of the darkest days of the Osumania competitive scene, as some of the best Korean Mania players such as Jip, Delay, and Windy S were banned. I actually made another documentary style video on that topic last year in the description if you want to go have a look. With the top competition in Mania fading, Jakads also felt the effects as his fellow competitors were basically quitting the game. This caused him to heavily distance himself away from Osu, as there was literally no reason for him to play the game. Everyone was looking for a player with the ability to dethrone Jakads. Even Jakads himself was looking for a worthy opponent. So who was it gonna be? YZ? Kalkai? Would JH Lee make a sudden return? Nope. As all of this drama was going on, a certain quiet player had just finished their military service and made a return to the game. Who else but Dressurf himself? As he had been absent from the game for about a whole year due to Korean mandatory army service, he had to de-rust and improve. As Dressurf had nothing else on his plate, he had all the time in the world to devote himself to bettering his gameplay. And so, he got to work. The day had come. All of Dressurf's practice and improvement had built up to this moment. Dressurf started his stream titled TFC, which is the map that has the most potential of breaking the PP record. And after about 30 or so minutes of retry spamming, he... You know what? Let me just show you what happened.
GG.
He'd done it. All of his efforts had finally paid off. Allow me to remind you again that Jakads has been on top for 5 whole years, but now, 5 years later, there's a new #1 in town. And it lasted 25 minutes. 25 minutes. Evidently, it seemed that Jakads was very excited to have received a worthy opponent again, and decided to give Dressurf a little challenge. Dressurf obliged and well, this happened. They tied. Both at 23,084 PP. For a while, if you actually went to both their individual profiles, it would show both of them being rank 1 at the same time. Which was crazy, as it came down to the minor decimals, which showed that Dressurf was indeed the #1 by the tiniest of margins. I also found this to be quite funny too. A bit after the incident, Jakads posted this tweet which reads, "Gonna be inching forward just enough like this so that he can keep having competition and motivation to be better." This is a very humble response from Jakads. I respect him so much for posting this, as Jakads fully has the ability to farm and gain over 500 PP. He hasn't even played TFC, which is what gave Dressurf the PP record. But he decides not to, as he's been longing for a worthy opponent and is willing to limit himself to keep things competitive and keep himself motivated too. This is honestly the best response you could expect from the former #1 himself. Unless? And that's pretty much it for this short documentary. As of right now, Dressurf has cemented his place at the top, and hopefully more players will be inspired to compete for that #1 spot. There have been 2 up-and-coming players by the name of BSSD and Kura that definitely show potential to catch up to the top 2. But once again, thank you all so much for watching, and please, if you want to support me, consider hitting that like and subscribe button, as it will help me with the algorithm. The main reason I wanted to delve into documentary making was due to Etienne formally announcing his retirement from rhythm game content creation. Although I don't think I will come close to his level of narrating skills, but I hope to maybe one day be regarded as someone close to what Etienne was. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed these type of videos and be prepared to see more. Thanks. See ya!